Just me only.
It's Hot93.7, Hot93.7.com. You're chosen. In just a few minutes, we got those tickets to the WWE Raw. But right now, we got a special guest in the building, the mayor of East Hartford, Michael Walsh. How you doing, man?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate it. I see you in the newspaper the other day. You're doing big things in East Hartford.
We're trying. Made the front page on a couple of places. We've got some development coming to East Hartford. Love to talk about it. What do you want to hear?
Tell me about the Silver Lane Plaza. What's going on with the plaza?
Okay, so we've got 3 parcels of property. If anybody's familiar with Silver Lane,
a lot of people are, yeah.
Exactly. You've got the Silver Lane Plaza, which is some people call the old J.M. Fields Plaza.
Right.
Blighted, 30 years, no development.
What was in that plaza?
So what they used to call the J.M. Fields Plaza shopping center.
Okay.
And right now, there's very little in there.
Not much going on at all.
Not much going on there at all. The owner, we're in active negotiations for the town to buy it. I hope we're able to reach a deal by the end of June. And if the town is able to do it, we will basically level the buildings and turn it over for development. So that's one piece of a Silver Lane revitalization. The second piece goes to, a lot of people call it the showcase cinema sites.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
We've got 360 to 550 market rate apartments. We call it amenity rich. There'll be a pool, there'll be a workout room, there'll be a dog park. And that's also the second
fancy.
key.
A dog park?
A dog park. That's also a key to revitalizing Silver Lane, because what we don't have right now on Silver Lane is retail. Everybody asks me, why don't we have Walmart? Why don't we have Target? Why don't we have Kohl's? And the answer is disposable income. Those apartments represent an opportunity to bring $15 million of disposable income to Silver Lane. That, coupled with the new retail site that we can have on Silver Lane Plaza once the town controls it, you'll start to see revitalization of Silver Lane.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the mayor of East Hartford, Mike Walsh, in here right now. Hold on, Reggie. Let me ask him a question. You got one of the most popular places in the state, the Rentschler Field. What are you guys doing there? I know you have the football games and everything. And there used to be concerts there. You said you went to a Sting concert there. Will we ever see another concert there?
So that's a great question. And when I get back to the office, State of Connecticut is the owner. Office of Policy and Management owns the rent. It's a piece of property, about 90 acres, given up by Pratt & Whitney Aircraft to the state, run by CRDA. You're right. I attended the Rolling Stones. I attended Sting. I attended Bruce Springsteen. Great concerts. We had a little bit of local problem with initially noise. And then when the people figured out that it was the Stones there, it was okay.
Is that right?
So I think your point is spot on. We need to go back to the state and say, why not concerts again at Rentschler Field?
Let's do it again.
How long have you been in office?
So I took office November 8th, 2021. I am new to the office of mayor, but I am not new to the town of East Hartford. I've been the finance director for 23 years, and then I did a 2-year stint at the Office of Policy and Management working for Governor Lamont.
So now, some of the things that I hear, I used to live in East Hartford for a long time, well over 10 years, and some of the things that I've heard and seen in East Hartford is no progression. You have people who's been in East Hartford for a long time who don't want change. They like East Hartford the way it is. So whenever is something brought to the table to build or to do something, it's older people at these town hall meetings who's shooting it down, per se.
Yep. You're absolutely right. That is the reputation of East Hartford, and that's the reputation we have to change.
Yeah.
There's a document called the Control Tower, and we're looking at it here. For those folks out there listening, you can simply Google it. It's called the East Hartford Control Tower. It's 25 projects that East Hartford needs to do. We're not going to do all of them. We're going to do most of them. We're going to try to do all of them. Some will fall off the table if the math doesn't work. But for example, number one priority, Silver Lane Plaza.
Silver Lane.
That's the only way we rehabilitate Silver Lane.
Now, which plaza in East Hartford is this? Where Stop and Shop is, or where the Domino's Pizza at? Because they got a bunch of little plazas in East Hartford.
So if you were a drone and you were flying above I-84, the first property you would see would be the Showcase Cinema site. Okay. That is a flat pancake site waiting for the apartments to be built. Those should start to be built sometime November 2022. If the drone was moving south, the next project or the next parcel you'd see is Charter Oak Mall. That's where Stop and Shop used to be.
What are you going to do there?
We recently lost Stop and Shop. So
I was just about to say, Stop and Shop is gone?
So it was a rent dispute, and a lot of people think the town had a hand in that, and we don't. We attempted to go to the table with a checkbook and say, hey, listen, this Stop and Shop is important to our community.
Yeah.
We need a grocery store. We're a bit of a food desert in some areas. That's important. Some of the folks in East Hartford don't drive, so they need to be in walking distance. While we do have 5 grocery stores in East Hartford, Stop and Shop was a staple. So a lot of people thought that the town should have done more. I can tell you that I brought a checkbook and a $100,000 offer to the table. Neither Stop and Shop was interested in staying, and the owner of Charter Oak Mall wasn't interested. So it was simply a rent dispute, and Stop and Shop chose to reinvest in another community where their return on investment was a little bit greater. But back to the drone. So now the second place we're flying over is Charter Oak Mall. That's where Stop and Shop used to be. The third site, as you hit Silver Lane, is the Silver Lane Plaza. So 3 sites right in a row. And again, all of them need to be looked at holistically. Traditionally, as to your point in the past, if we only looked at one thing, the other 2 things could make the third thing not happen. So we have to look at all 3 parcels holistically. And that's only one plan. In the control tower, you'll see a much or an equally important project is probably the way I should say it. Rentschler Field. While we talked about Rentschler Field as in the concert stadium or the football stadium, there's nearly 280 acres ripe for development. There's a company called National Development coming in. They are going to build 2 extremely large warehouse spaces, up to 2.9 million square feet. That's the size of 2 football fields, 40 feet tall, 80 feet wide, times 2. So there'll be 2 buildings there, each the size of 2 football fields. That brings in 400 new temporary construction jobs for the better part of 2 years. That brings in nearly $4.5 million in new taxes for the town, which will give some tax break. It'll allow me to control taxes better moving forward. But here's the most important part. You heard me say, really important to bring that $15 million of disposable income back to the apartments that'll be going up on Silver Lane. This will be 2,000 new jobs. Each job will pay in excess of $20 an hour, access to medical benefits, access to retirement income.
That's great.
Why that's important is people in East Hartford don't have as much access to medical care as other communities do. If you're born in East Hartford, your life expectancy may not be as great as someone, say, in West Hartford or Glastonbury.
Wow.
So those jobs are critically important to the health of our citizens going forward. If we can get quality health care into the people's hands on an affordable basis, on a lifelong basis, they're going to live longer, and that's good for my community.
Mike, what can the people of East Hartford do to help all these things? You got a lot of projects going on. What can the people of East Hartford do to help you?
You know what? I'm going to sound the alarm. Vote. And the reason everybody needs to show up to vote is in a municipal election, as little as 17% of the people show up. So think about that. We're missing 83% of the voters. So 17% is a very small, generally active or vocal minority, and they're controlling your town. East Hartford is in good hands, and that's no reflection on me. East Hartford has traditionally been in good hands, but we've been buffeted by, when West Farms Mall opened and when Manchester, Buckland Hills Mall opened, it wiped out our Main Street. Well, you know what? Amazon is now wiping out the Buckland Hills Mall and West Farms.
Yeah.
So you know what? East Hartford's going to be in front of the curve, and we're going to welcome with open arms those 2 warehouses and the jobs. One last thing I want to mention, just as important, fiber is coming to East Hartford. Now, everybody probably has Comcast, everybody has Cox, everybody has AT&T or Frontier. This is something different. This is glass buried under the ground that transmits the same signal. You transmit, if you're Comcast or Frontier, about 25 megahertz, or MIPS, I guess they call it. We're going to do a 10 gigabit network up to 400 gigabit. That will make East Hartford a destination for those high-tech industries that need that type of speed.
That speed.
So this is a calling card. East Hartford is open for business. We've got jobs. We've got construction coming. We've got apartments. We dropped the mill rate to 41 predominantly because COVID drove the heck out of our prices. Prices in East Hartford for housing used to be 100, 150, or 200. Now they're 200, 250, 300. And we ultimately, as a result of that, we were able to drop the mill rate. Shout out to the Governor Lamont. The reason being is the General Assembly passed a budget with a ton of tax cuts. Connecticut is in as good a fiscal shape as it's ever been, and that's important to my community. The reason being is they passed a car tax at a little over 32. I would have charged 41. That saves each of my residents about $125 on a $10,000 car. There's a $300 property tax credit on your state income tax return. Most towns like East Hartford, our residents are going to be able to grab that tax credit. That's new. That's another $300 off. So even though we went through revaluation, there's a host of tax relief in the state budget that really benefits East Hartford. And the last two pitches on the state budget are mental health and juvenile justice, both things that the citizens of my community are crying for were in this budget. So hats off to the legislature for a job well done. It means a lot to my community. We're in a better place today than we were yesterday.
Great job.
What are you guys doing for people who want to open up businesses in East Hartford?
Excellent question. That would be called a softball if I knew you were going to answer it. So East Hartford has $4.5 million from the American Rescue Plan Act. And it's pretty simple. If you're an existing business in East Hartford and you're growing, either adding employees or doing improvements, if you're a new business and you want to relocate there, stop into the development office, stop into the mayor's office. We have up to $125,000 per business. Now, that means you have to spend $125,000 to get that back, but we're going to reimburse you for the first $125,000 if, again, you're creating new jobs, you're investing in East Hartford, you're doing the things to re-stimulate economic development post-COVID. And once the $4.5 million runs out, we're out of money, but there's a lot of interest in that fund. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, Mike Walsh, Mayor of East Hartford, appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate you having me. Love to be back anytime you need me.
Now, when I get that parking ticket, can I come see you?
Absolutely.
I might move back to East Hartford.
The speeding ticket, no. The parking ticket, yes.
Hot93.7. Hey, call 18 right now. WWE Raw tickets are for grabs. 860-674-9307.
In the streets early. Rolling in the streets, let's go. With Jerry's traffic report.
What's better than winning? Winning fast. After an accident, call 888-WIN-FAST.